Sanibonani ke. Hey, ngimlobe kabhethile. Isikhathi bekungikora past 4, not 4 o'clock. So I'm waiting for Gogo Nomadlozi ngiyalo. She is ready. And sizoqala ngekuthandazela laba abulawe nge-COVID-19. And then ngestobe sesiqala kahle our discussion for today. Let me check if she's here. Shout out to KZ. Shout out to my okay now Gogo so online. Instagram. Eswatini daily news. Okay, we are waiting for Gogo now. She's here and we will get started for today's section. Waiting. I'm here. Yes, Gogo, please accept the request so that we can get started. I've sent you a request to connect with me. Hello. Okay, I've sent you again. Please accept.
Okay.
Thokoza Gogo.
Thokozan.
Should I take off the hat? You okay
It's
with
good
it?
to take off the hat for praying.
Okay, Thokoza Gogo.
But the hat's fine otherwise.
But I look ugly. I didn't comb my head.
Listen, it's COVID. You know, probably if everybody stands up, you're going to see their pajamas.
Yeah, ne?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, can we start with the prayer, Gogo, so
Yes.
that we can get started?
Itlozi asked that I start with the prayer, so I want to do that today. Thokozan Bogogo, Thokozan Namkulu, Thokozan Siabong Maslozi, Thokozan. I want to offer prayers today. I want to offer prayers today. Oh, I want to offer prayers today for all the people that are affected by COVID right now, all the people that are sick right now, all the people that have just been diagnosed, or the people that are very, very sick, the people that are dying from COVID, the people that are recovering from COVID, the people that are trying to get through COVID. We send you healing. We send you light. We asking that your ancestors are strong with you right now. They are strong with you, that you know you're not alone, that we are with you. We are praying for you, that you aren't alone at this time as you're sick. We want to offer prayers for all the people that have already passed, that haven't had a proper funeral. Please, ancestors, understand these circumstances. Please, those that have passed alone, may they now be returned to elevated ancestors where they can be held and loved. And no, we tell you, the dead, we tell you, we will come back. We will feed you. We will honor you. We will remember you. I want to offer prayers for the young ones right now in South Africa and Swaziland who are getting this strain of virus. Oh, I want to offer prayers for them, that they make good choices and do everything they can to try and be safe, that they value their own lives, and that we, as their adults and as their elders, we protect them and our children right now, those children that are in homes with gender-based violence, those children that are not being taken care of, those children that are hungry. We offer prayers for them. We offer food for the people. We offer peace for the people. We offer safety, especially for our young ones and our children at this time. We offer prayers at this time, that COVID comes and goes quickly. Please, we offer prayers that those that are struggling, those that are living in poverty, those that are struggling with huge burdens right now, family difficulties, money difficulties, and they're feeling hopeless. Please, may we all come together. Each day may we pray for each other. May our ancestors be joined together. May we be joined together during this time. May no one be alone in heart or spirit. We call on you, ancestors. We call on you, great creator, to take care of the people, to help take care of the people, to guide their way forward, to bless their way forward. You've taken them through worse. You've taken them through harder, even harder times. Please, we ask that the people have food. We ask that people have the medicine, the traditional medicine they need. We ask that people have everything they need. We pray for people that their families are in good order, that the people are in good order, that we allow this time to be a time of unity, where we come together, where we help each other, where we don't turn against each other, but we help each other and we forge a new way forward. We offer prayers that the whole continent has independence. It has economic independence, spiritual independence, psychological independence. The people are able to dictate and care for themselves and care for their communities, that we can have this revitalization. We give thanks that the ancestors are loud now. They're speaking clearly. Their voices are burning for us. May we hear them. May we hear them. May we heed to the calls that we are being asked to do. May we find unity. May we find healing. May we find blessings of any faith. May we be joined together. No matter our faith, may we be unified. May we come together in a healing capacity to take care of the people and find our way forward and bless each other. Each morning, may we give thanks for whatever we have, even if it's little. May we give thanks every day, and may we pray for each other. We are all joined together. May we all be together on this journey. May we all heal together. Tokozana matlozi siyabonga matlozi tokozana ndawe.
How are you, Gogo?
I'm well.
I'm also okay.
Good.
What's the time that side?
9:20.
9:20. Okay. Here it's 4:20. That means you are behind 7 hours.
Yeah, but you're not going to be getting ready for your New Year's party, right? Because there's no alcohol. Lockdown.
No, it's a bit challenging.
Instead of people partying, they can come and listen to this.
Yes, of course, yes. Okay, before we get started, Gogo, can you introduce yourself so that my viewers and your viewers can know better about you?
Sure. Togozan Bogogo, Togozan Namkulu. My name is Rebecca Rogerson. My Sangoma name is Nomadlozi. I'm a practicing Sangoma for almost 24 years. I trained in Dlamini in Soweto in 1997. I always have to remember, right? Some of you were born in 1997. Yeah. And so I'll try and keep it a short story, but basically I left Canada. I'm originally from Canada. I met my now husband, then boyfriend, in Israel. And I decided at 18 to go to South Africa to see him and to live. And it was a very exciting time. It was probably August 94. So Madiba had been inaugurated May, June. I can't remember now. Anyway, it was a few months later. So it was an exciting, South Africa was changing radically before our eyes, in every moment, at every turn. Things were shifting and things were changing. And I did a lot of community-based work. I worked with street kids at the time. And then we decided to hitchhike. We wanted to travel the whole continent. For me, I wanted to understand it. And for my husband, being white South African, he wanted to know what it means for him to be an African and white, right? So we predominantly hitchhiked. We took buses. We decided very early on that this wasn't about an adventure and safari. We tended to stay away from anything that tourists were at, travel by bus, travel by hitchhike. And it was really that journey that allowed me to unlearn, to start to really unlearn, right? And proper travel like that will give you that opportunity to get to understand other ways of living and being and seeing the world and worldview. Anyway, I got very sick along the way. we had no money left. I found a way back for back to Joburg for me. My husband hitchhiked back. That's another story in itself. And then I was sick. I was sick for about 5 to 7 years, and no one knew what was wrong with me. I consulted everybody except for healers because I didn't really know about them. I came back to Canada again. I saw everybody I could see. And then a friend introduced me to his Indigenous elder. And his elder spiritually adopted me and gifted me with his colors. And I started to learn ceremony in what's referred to as Turtle Island. And I started to get better, but still not well, and still having strange dreams. So I went back to South Africa, and now I'm open to these ways, and saw a healer, and she threw the bones and said, you have a calling, and you have a calling in terms of Bungoma. You have to twasa. So I was like, okay. Didn't know what it meant. You see, you guys
Did
all
you
have.
believe it? Did you believe it at first?
I was desperate. You know, when you have ubizo, you're desperate. You know, you're. This is why many people take advantage of that, because people are like, I was so sick. I was having these strange experiences. I was like, I'll do anything, right? But at the time, it's not like you guys. You all have YouTube. You have Google. You have so much knowledge and education available. So I just, all I knew was rumors I heard, you know, like, they're going to make you get in barrels with snakes. You're going to have to do this. You're going to have to do that. And I'm not talking my white South African family, a black South African family, right? There were these, oh, this is what happens. And so all these misconceptions, right? So I lived with my Gobela. The hardest part probably was language, but also unlearning, right? Like, you know, for us white people, we're like, all rights, you know, all rights. And we're not used to being in servitude. We're not used to ultimate humility, right? And our culture doesn't teach honoring ancestors, and doesn't really teach humility. So that took some learning, right? That took some learning. The kneeling was hard and all that. So I finished, I graduated, as I said, in 97. I went back to my place. I was living not far from Diepsloot, and I was seeing the patients. And this was 98 now. So the HIV epidemic was really kicking in. Most of my patients that were coming to me were having HIV symptoms or had AIDS, and I didn't know a lot about it. So I started getting educated. And then I started working with a Canadian agency, and I did a bunch of different things. I worked with Community AIDS Response, and I worked in Joburg, Jen, Helen, Joseph, and Barra as a healer. And then I ended up, I did a whole bunch of things. I created a reproductive health program for Sangomas that was culture informed, so not like, you know, Western ideas. And then I ended up living in Botswana working on the National AIDS Program. So my work took me, then I was ending up doing research, you know, with sex workers and coal miners. And I ended up, you know, Itlozi take you in a million and one directions. So I was called to come back to Canada, arrived and thought, what the hell am I doing here? It's cold. People are cold. The weather is cold. But now I've been back about 13 years, and I just do the work. We have a large portion of African diasporic people, lots of people from from Jamaica, the West Indies, lots of people from back home. So I work a lot with those folks, and then I'm going home probably every year, not now, to see my in-laws, see the patients, you know, and to do the work.
When you say home, you mean Canada or South Africa?
I mean South Africa, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's home. I'm from here, that's home.
Okay. So just to ask, when you started the Butwasa, which ancestors entered you? Was it the African ancestors or ancestors from Canada?
Yeah, good question. So when I was training, I don't know how it is for other people. My teacher at my Gobela didn't tell me a lot, right?
Okay.
My Gobelas do this, do this, do this, do this, do this, right? This is what you have to do. So at the time, I would say it was both. But interestingly enough, both came through. There was Amakosi, Ambandao, different ancestors came through. But what's interesting was it wasn't until, so I graduated, but then I still didn't feel right. Something wasn't right. And then many years later, I started dreaming about this Gogo. And she kept coming to me when I moved back here. She kept coming to me, and it's a long story, but I ended up finding her homestead in Acorn Hook. Spirit took me there, and this is a good reminder for people. You don't need to Google your Gobela. You're going to see them and know where to go. And then I went and I finished I did more Tao initiation. Now, once I had done that, because I had the Endao initiation originally, but once I did this other component, then the ancestors started flooding. And so now, I don't know, sometimes I lose count. There's got to be at least 22, 23 that work with me that are my lineal, my direct ancestors, and then other ancestors that could be foreign ancestors or could be tied in with me, but come from other places in the world. Yeah.
Okay. All right. No, I understand. So, when is the right time to consult with Sangoma? Do you really have to say, maybe I feel like going to the Sangoma, or do you really have counts, or do you really have to decide? Now I really need to go to consult with Sangoma?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think the first thing is the person that you're going to see, you should feel drawn and pulled to. That's important. So this isn't just about this person's famous, let me go to them. Referral is good if your friend says, look, this person is good. But don't forget, you're going to be drawn to a healer that will help you. Your ancestors will draw you there. So I have a lot of people dealing with Abandao. I have a lot of people dealing with specific things that make sessions with me, and I go, okay, that's why, right? Because there's that connection. So that's the first thing. Yes, you can do referral. That's a practical piece, but it should be somebody you feel drawn to or connected to. I would say it's good to see a healer. I mean, it's good to see somebody yearly to see what's going on. We're heading into the new year, right? If you follow the Gregorian calendar. But I think it's also important that when you are not getting the answers or you need confirmation and you're praying and it's not coming forward, I always say a good reading, Amatamba, will confirm a lot of what you felt or knew. There shouldn't be a million things out of left field. You may get one or two, but it should confirm something that you may have already had a feeling towards. So if you're confused about something, if you're just not able to find clarity, that's good. But then sometimes we come to healers for counseling. This is important too, where people have an opportunity to feel heard, listened to, supported, encouraged. Very few people have that in their life. And the other thing is, yes, you can go and purchase Ntalezi, Zimbiza, you can get that anywhere, but sometimes you require a skilled person to be able to attune to what you need. Maybe they know you need this specific root, even though it may be used for kidneys, but for you, you need to use this, but it may not be used for everybody. So that's important too with the traditional medicine piece.
Okay. So one of the things that you mentioned, you once did some research with sex workers. This is why I'm even getting into the importance of cleansing yourself, because at times it also becomes a problem whenever you sleep with a lot of people, because you tend to connect with their spirits as well.
That's right.
So maybe if you can clarify on the importance of cleansing.
Oh, cleansing and
Mm,
protection. If there's anything you take away, anybody takes away from this, the two most important things we require right now is cleansing and protecting ourselves.
mm,
Cleansing is very important for the obvious reasons, okay? So dealing with things like olwentlu, you miscarry, you abort, you give birth, the cleansing is important. Yes, you have a multitude of partners, 100%. I appreciate you saying that. You are absorbing, your body is a temple, and when you're sexually engaged, you're absorbing that person's energy. That's why it's good that to have sex with somebody who's in order, right? Because
mhm,
you, and if you're a healer or you're an empath, you're going to, or you're sensitive, you're going to carry that. So
mhm,
yes, that's important. And for traditional purposes, cleansing is important. Cleaning out our stomach is important. Doing those things are important. But cleansing right now is more important than it's ever been, because
mhm,
we have a lot of energies right now on our planet that are not here in a good way. I guess I could say it's sort of a battle of good and evil. We have a lot of
mhm,
energies right here now that are energetic, that are spiritual, that are not human. We have a multitude of things present right now,
mhm,
and not to mention the 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 illnesses that are going around, the spiritual illnesses and imbalance. Most people aren't well. We're living in a capitalist world that fights against harmony, right? Our systems
yeah,
don't want us to be well.
mm,
There's a benefit in us being sick and us being oppressed. So it's very important that we endeavor to clean up. We have to clear away. Now, you can leave your house, and you're learning now, I can leave my house, go to the spaza, buy myself milk, and I come back with COVID. This is the same case for spiritual matters. People don't realize
mm,
it's the same case. Like you can go out and get gum on your shoe, you can pick things up energetically. And because so much of our world is not in order, we have to be careful. So regular cleansing is key. Cleansing means a few things, right? Yes, cleaning out
mm,
your stomach, right?
yeah,
Palazza, spade, those are important. Um, Fasting, depending on if your health can tolerate that. Uh,
mhm,
Futa, geza, right? Are regular cleansing things. We can't
mm,
just go to the river, wash in the river, and say, well, I did the cleansing work.
mm,
Not everyone is supposed to cleanse in the water.
mm,
Different people require different things for cleansing at different times. This is important. We can't
mm,
assume, well, even though we want to rely on our traditional methods, we know they work. There may be
yeah,
different things that are required at certain times. So the cleansing is key. Are we cleansing our body? Are we cleansing our mind and our thinking? Are you sitting up till 4 in the morning watching shows about murder and a bunch of social media rubbish and going, oh, they all have their lives together. Look at me. That's not good. We got to be cleaned up
mm,
from that. Are we
mm,
spiritually cleansing ourselves and making sure that we're clearing away any energies that we don't want? Now, hand in hand with the cleansing is the protection. Is
mhm,
the protection. Now, don't waste your time throwing medicine at other people. That's not the work I do. I have no interest in it. I think it's dumb, frankly. Um,
mhm,
the best thing you can do is ensure that nothing touches you. When the shit's flying, it doesn't touch you. But if it
mhm,
touches you, it flies off. That's what we want. So protection is important. And again, I have a blog about this on my website, how to protect yourself. Again, we're all different. Somebody might require medicine that they're carrying. Somebody might require, full cleansing and protection, ineba, the whole bit. Some people might require different medicine they wash in. Your number one protection, okay, is not white Jesus. I'm not saying you don't work with Jesus. I'm speaking specifically to white Jesus. Your number one protection is your badimo. They are, you have a job while you're alive. The elevated ancestors have a task on that side to shield, protect, guide, and help you. So you can be sitting here all day washing in medicine, but if things aren't in order with your ancestors, you're wasting your time and your money. So that's number one. And if you're listening, they're going to show you, don't get in that relationship. She's not right. They're going to show you that friend of yours, he's out to steal your money. So that is their task. It's an interrelationship. We offer to them, we give thanks to them, and they help us. Remember, it goes both ways. You can't just sit in pasla all day. Help me, help me, help me, help me. You have to remember to say thank you. And you have to remember to listen to what they tell you. Because they may tell you something, you think, well, I don't want to do that. Well, that's what you're told to do. So your ancestors are your primary helpers with protection.
Okay. All right. So how does one get to connect with their ancestors and also understanding their calling and acceptance?
Oh, those are big questions. First of all, your ancestors will normally begin communication. You're going to know they're trying to tell you something. You're going to feel them. You're going to dream about it. You're going to get things that happen. Oh, I saw this thing and I can't believe it. It looked just like my grandfather or whatever. So you're going to get those things that come up, symbols, and different things in your dreams and in your waking time that's telling you, that's communicating with you. So that's important. If we're speaking about how does anybody in the world communicate with their ancestors, if we're talking about Nguni peoples, well, that's different, right? We know. We pasla, we offer our snave, we offer our impepo. Not always. There might be something else you need to offer. We don't always offer alcohol. This is a false idea that spirits always need to be, like liquor always needs to be offered. So the first thing that we want to do is we want to create msamo, okay? It can be as simple as anything. We want msamo, and the badimo are going to ask you if they want it in the house, or they may want it outside, or they might want both. So your first task is to create a place. Msamo is the root of the home. Msamo is the home of the home. No msamo, no balance. When the msamo is in order, things in the home become in order, because msamo is the connector between the ancestors and between you and the family and everyone else. So this is essential. And it needs to be used. We could talk about how to make msamo, we could sit, that would take another hour. So you want to create that space. You want to use it regularly. Okay, what's the use in going to pasla, or let me say rather, pray once a year? You may have the larger things you have to do and make your offerings, but try and make a regular practice. Wake up every morning. When you're going to bed, do it. If they're waking you up, if the ancestors are waking you up 12, 3, and 6, you better get up and pasla, because you're going to keep waking you up. So that's important. You're taking the time and the place. You're keeping your msamo clean and nice. It's not filled with dust. You're keeping it activated. You put an msamo there and do nothing with it, it's deactivated. Keep it activated. Also, make sure that you go to pray in the places that Itlozi wants you to pray at. Not everybody's meant to go to the river. Some people are supposed to have a fire. Some people are supposed to go to the mountains. And you may be required to go to the river tomorrow, and next month you need to go to the mountains. So make sure that you're listening and you're attuning. Our praying and our work and our rituals have always involved nature and working with the spirits in nature. So this is very important that we're doing that. As I said, please don't go to your ancestors. Please, 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 gimme, 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 gimme. It's a two-way relationship. Would you do that with your husband or your wife? No. She'd say, well, what am I getting? It's an interchange. So you need to feed your ancestors. You need to take care of them in a loving way. Don't just go in patla and make your offerings so that you get an outcome you hope you're going to have. That's manipulation. You have to surrender to your ancestors' guidance and good orderly direction. So that may mean they tell you to do something or ask you to do something you don't want to do. You know, you'll say, okay, you're telling me this guy's okay for me, but I actually like this one. He's hotter. He doesn't care, right? So you have to trust, you know, the ancestors. You have to trust them and be willing to surrender and be willing to take time out to prioritize that relationship. When you do that, when you come in a heartfelt way, then you're shown. You will only be given and shown what you can contain and understand and are ready for. So if you're asking for this and this and this, you're not going to get it if you're not ready for it. So you better prepare and be ready and say, I'm ready for what you're going to give me. I trust what you're going to show me. I'm prepared for it and I will follow through. So it's not just making contact. It's also heeding what you're required to do.
And not the matter of even getting jealous about people that they've achieved such and such, and you say, I also want this. So people should also understand that.
Well, and not only that, but that's a Eurocentric colonial capitalist way of thinking. You know, that's part of decolonizing. This jealousy, you have, I don't have. This system has created such inequity, you know, rich get rich, poor get poor. The system has to go, right? Like, and we have to understand that we need, our opening prayer today was unity. And I don't just mean it in a sweet way, let's hold hands. I mean, we have to have each other's back and be working together in oneness. So this jealousy, you might as well shoot yourself in the foot. Because as Ndara Koka used to say, when I bleed, your handkerchief is full of my blood. We are more interconnected than we can imagine. So jealousy is a waste of time. We need to collaborate.
Okay. Let's also try to clear out the myth and stereotypes about certain things. For example, we have Western religion and African tradition. So can we just, other people you might find them saying this Mufasa thing is demonic. Others, they don't really understand, and they can even end up judging people without even understanding their culture. So is there any difference as well if maybe you are white or if you are black and you say you want to Woodfasa? And as well, let's also clear that it's not a matter of saying you want, it's supposed to be a calling.
Okay, you've asked me 3 questions. So let's, okay.
Yes.
That's
Let's
a lot
start
to
with
answer.
one.
So okay. So the first one you're asking, just repeat the first part of that question. Let's do that one first.
That's clearing the myth and stereotypes about Woodfasa.
People are afraid of who they are. People don't necessarily want to face the truth about who they are, where they come from, and what they're made up of. The good, the bad, and the ugly. People are afraid of things that seem out of control, right? Think about Europeans when they first colonists when they first saw sangomas.
Mm.
You know, like, ooh, these people are crazy. These people, they're possessed by the devil. And then later doctors say, oh, you're mentally ill. You know, you have
Mm.
multiple personality disorder, or labeling, right? People
Mm.
people demonize and reject that which they don't understand. And people also reject their the truths that reside in them. You know,
Mm.
you see so many times when there's a Sangoma event, there'll be one or two people that do everything to dodge that house. And that person who's running the fastest, thou doth protest too much. You go have a calling, my friend. That's why you're running away. So
Yeah.
um, what can we say? Colonization has done a real number on the global south, right? It's done a real number to such a degree that, you know, white colonists and Europeans and white churches don't even need to be the gatekeeper or the cops. They've got their own, your own people doing that, demonizing the work. So this is a problem. And as we find life getting harder, and the noose of like neoliberalism constricting people, and people are getting poor and more desperate, that's partly where the church then is able to sort of come in and say, right, it is able to say, find Jesus and everything gets better. So those are some key pieces. I do want to say, I don't want to come across as anti-religion. I don't want to come across as that. I mean, I myself am a Jewish person. I believe ultimately, so that's my kind of socio-political perspective. My spiritual perspective is there are many doors that lead to spirit, many doors. If you are truly engaged in your practice in a humble, non-judgment, compassionate way, then there should be no difference in how we can relate and our interchange with understanding spirit and almighty forces. There shouldn't be a difference there. You should be able to speak my language. I should be able to speak yours. So if you're Christian and truly following Christ's teachings, you should not be demonizing other people for their practices. You should be exercising understanding and loving compassion. So people that are demonizing others in their name of their religion are hypocritical to their own religion, because we know that is not the fundamental teaching. It is not a fundamental teaching of hate. So it's important that we remain open, cooperative, and collaborative. We don't need to hear about, these traditional healers are killing each other, they're doing this and doing that. You have the same thing within the church. The same thing. Violence against women, taking advantage of people. Let's talk about that issue across the spectrum. Instead of pointing fingers, let's work together to address these larger issues, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, it's clear. It's clear. Then I think maybe somehow you introduced the difference between the Western religion and the African tradition. And then that was the dead question that I had asked. Is there any difference as well with the cultures? How do they really meet together? Because at some point in time, we need to also make people understand, Guti, somehow we should unite as well. Not that if you are a Christian, you will tend to then criticize the African tradition and then start calling them Batagati or the devil worshippers of some sort.
I mean, I think ultimately, as I said, we are all fundamentally joined. We are all
Yeah.
fundamentally joined by spirit. Even when we look in the Bible, there is ancestral acknowledgement and veneration. Whenever somebody is discussed, they are told about their history. Is the child of and as I always say, we find a host of different rituals within the Old Testament that are tied in with, they are indigenous. right? Like they're indigenous practices. So it's foolish for us to, to look away to that. Difference is good, right? Difference is good. Let us value it. Let us value how we are different. Let us appreciate it. Let's look at the common things that we're trying to work against: corruption, oppression, violence. Let us work together again, because whatever sector you're in, those are things that we're dealing with. I think that that's key. I think the difference with Western religion, what it's become, and we can't say African because it's a huge continent, right? But we could speak about Ngoma practices, is that it's based in, it's holistic. It's holistic and not just mind, body, spirit. The ancestors are incorporated, nature spirits are incorporated. So interconnection it is absolutely pivotal. And how we relate to each other, how we relate in the world, how we are spiritually interrelating, how we are conducting ourselves so we affect the spiritual world in a good way and it affects us, is innate in how we're living. So Ngoma and our traditional practices teach us how to live in a good way, right? They're showing us what life should look like, how we should conduct ourselves, right? And these are some things that the ancestors always laugh, and when they give me teachings, they laugh. They're like, "Shame, you're all babies. Like, you don't even know anymore. You don't even know, about the type of food you should eat, or you even don't even know how to greet each other." Like they tell me that they used to, when children used to wake up, the child would come to the parent and wake up the parent, and the parent would bless the child every morning. It was the child's duty to wake the child, then the mother can see and the father can see the child's well, and to bless them. Now we don't do that anymore. In fact, we don't even consider the emotional, spiritual needs of our children, really, right? Now they're just sitting on a device. We're not considering their spiritual needs, or what medicine does this child have? What is their path? And how can I nourish that? What itlozi do they carry? Right? So we have to get back on track. These traditional knowledge systems, this wisdom, these teachings are born more than ever right now. And it's our task, in order to live in a good way with each other and on our planet, we need it. We need it.
I'm just thinking here while we are talking. In my head, I'm just thinking about something. Let's see, is there any difference with our ancestors in terms of the century? Because now we know that there are these kids who are called Ema 2000, and most of the people now, the people who are born around 2000, they have their own culture, which is your Ema piano and the nice time kind of life. So I also understand that whenever we die, we become the ancestors as well. Is that true or not?
Okay, so you're asking me two things. So when we die, we pass, we become a spirit, but an elevated ancestor isn't necessarily what happens for us. Not everybody becomes an elevated ancestor that goes on to communicate and help their progeny. So Ngubani talks about Zulu perspective, that is as you would have lived, and the position you would have had and lived in life is most likely the position you have if you pass on. So if you're a chief and you're working in terms of community and support, that is most likely a position you will have. But that's a good question. How do we be? What makes somebody an elevated ancestor and somebody who's not? Because there is I don't want to use the word structure, and I don't want to use the word hierarchy, but there are different levels for ancestors. They're not just you know, they're all there and they're all elevated. We know that. We also have the spirits, the dead, or what we call in English as ghosts, who are in between, who haven't passed. And that's why when I prayed in the beginning, I prayed for those that are being buried now without the proper funerary procedures, because we do those things for a reason. We want to make sure people pass. We have to send them in a good way so that they do join that spirit world. If we don't do that, you can be left with sort of the dead collecting, right? And that happens when there's been war, when there's been trauma, when I mean, I had a client many years ago who I threw the bones, and I said to her, look, your mother-in-law, the spirit of your mother-in-law is in your house, and the piping blew up, and the electric, it kept going on and on. So I'm telling her, I'm like, you got it, you know what's going on there. So the person says to me, yeah, actually I have her urn in a separate room in my house, and it's been there 5 years. And I'm laughing to myself. I'm kind of thinking, like, white people, right? Like, right? Like, only we would do that. Like, what?
Yeah,
Ashes in an urn for 5 years? Like, oh my God. And I had to explain, like, this is affecting everything, your electricity, your marriage. You've got to get, she says, well, I don't think my husband's going to do it. So this is very important. If certain procedures, even if someone has committed suicide or died a traumatic way, they can still be lifted in an elevated way in terms of spirit. Does that mean they go on to be a helper for somebody? Maybe, maybe not. The first part of the question you asked me about youth, every generation complains about the new generation, right? Everyone. And our parents complained about us. This music's so loud. This isn't even music. We hate this. Look at what they're doing. So we're no different. You know, vaping, you know, I'm complaining. I mean, I love rap, but my daughter's, you know, listens to mumble trap, and some of it I like, some of it I hate. So every generation will complain. This generation has certain advantages. Number one, they have more access to education and knowledge and awareness. So they understand language that we maybe didn't have or understand, right? The conversations around decolonization, for example, would have been reserved for academics, intellectuals, or people that were, you know, organically very knowledgeable. These are common things we're talking about now. I mean, although there were movements before rooted in that. We're having conversations now about transphobia, Islamophobia, xenophobia, you know. So I think there's a greater awareness now, and that's exciting. I feel like a lot of the youth now, we see them reclaiming Itlozi. You know, they're like, I want it. I want my culture. I want my identity. I'm proud of who I am. I don't need to be secretive about it. You know, they've gained that from the privilege, well, not the privilege, but as a result of some of their ancestors' suffering, there's some vocalization that is happening now. Some things haven't changed, right? Police brutality, you know, some of these things haven't changed. On the other hand, the young people, so those are all the good things. On the other hand, some of the young people are missing out on some of the things that we had, right? So ideas of respect, right? Ideas of respect. What does it mean? You know, I don't love when somebody goes, hey, in my DMs, right? You know, I'm a Sangoma. You know, please, if you can greet me in a particular way. So I think some of those things, but I think they're going to find a way. You know, I think we have to not rely, but I think youth movements have always been what have been revolutionary. And I know we might not feel like that right now, between just people vaping and sitting around getting high and sitting on their devices playing video games. You kind of think, are they really going to, you know, but we have a lot of young dynamic people doing a lot. So let us encourage them too. Let us not judge them, criticize them. Let us rather be cheerleaders for our youth. I mean, imagine how they feel right now. These young people, my kids are home, they're scared, you know, like global warming, you know, the leadership in these countries, now a pandemic. I have 3 young people, right? And we don't want them to feel disparity. We don't want them to feel hopeless. And we also don't want them to feel like it's all on them. Let us motivate, encourage, and love and support them during these times.
Yeah. Okay, I think one other thing that I want us to talk about is the healing power of umuti and medicine. At times there's always a conflict between hospitals and botogoza as well. For example, you'll find someone being attacked by bad spirits. You call that one, what's this thing? Tilwani. They call it Tilwani. And then they take that person to a hospital. But then the hospital, they then put in wrong medicine because there's a way of treating those affection as well. So how can the hospital and the cultural medicine be linked?
Yeah, like the mental health in particular. The mental health is a huge one because you can, have somebody who's dealing with psychosis that could be biochemical or could be psychosis as a result of ubizo. So, right? Or it could be both. You can have both. So, that's important. And our methods are different. I've worked with clients dealing with psychosis that are restrained in a hospital physically so violently they end up with concussions. But I have my own method of wrapping, almost like swaddling, in order to help with that. So I think they can work together. And I think that South Africa has been doing this a long time. We look at people like Mercy Manley. We look at a host of different healers, even THO, Prometra, different healer organizations, looking at how we can collaborate. We have a lot of nurses that are Sangomas, right? We have a lot of nurses that are Sangomas. Shout out to the nurses, right? I mean, the nurses are holding our world together right now, really. Those nurses that are out there dealing with COVID. So we love you and thank you for your work. We have to work together. We're back to this. These binaries, this, or this is very European. It's very colonial, right? Sometimes you need an antibiotic. Sometimes you need blood work. That's what medicine is good for. Biomedicine is good for blood work, x-rays, surgery, and some elements of diagnosis. I will have people here where I'll say, I'm concerned about something with your liver. I want you to go and get an ultrasound on your liver and report back, right? Or they go and get a test. The doctor says it's fine. And I'm like, no, they didn't test for the right thing. So, so there is a place for biomedicine that we can make use of. It's not all or nothing, this or that. So that's okay. Use what you need to when you need to use it. And of course, we should have access to biomedicine as we need it. We shouldn't have people dying right now because they can't access an antibiotic. That's unacceptable, right? However, our traditional medicine does not have the same worldview as biomedicine. Okay? In biomedicine, the body's the body. They're only starting to discuss now that, okay, the body is affected by mental elements. We do see that the stress makes people sick. So biomedicine, some of my background's medical anthropology, so I could talk a lot about this, but it's only starting to recognize that. I don't want to universalize it and say indigenous worldview, but the practice that I come from and the worldviews I've been exposed to, we don't see it that way. We don't say, oh, the brain, the mind, the body. No, it's all interconnected to such a degree it's not even separated. So our practices, when we futa, we're doing it all. We're having a time where we're emotionally releasing. We're talking, we're sharing our pain when we're going to do that. You shouldn't be just sitting there quietly. No, you talking. Help me, ancestors, help me. I'm so upset. I had this fight with my husband. You're getting it out emotionally. Physically, the steam, the largest organ in your body is your skin. So you're getting rid of all those toxins. And then on top of that, you're using the plants that are helping you to connect with Itlozi. So it's doing all the work for you. So this is the understanding or the worldview. Even with plants, this is where people, they research it. Oh, ispapeto. It's good if I have the flu. Let me take that. But that doesn't mean that is the plant that you require at this time. Right? And you also, I used to make my Izimbiza, I'd have 50 things in there. I actually don't do that anymore. I actually have less, and I make sure I have a good combination and they're working well together. Now, last piece on this. When we are born, Itlozi, tell me, we are each born, you're breaking up there a little, you're not, you're pixelated. Itlozi, no, you're still pixelated. Itlozi, tell me that we are each born with 3 medicines that are our primary healers. Now, those medicines are, you're okay now. Those medicines are from the region we're from, at least 2. So wherever you're born, that region, at least 2 of those medicines are your primary medicines you need to use. The third one could be from that region or could be something else, even from another country. Those 3 medicines then are the primary things that will help you with most matters in your life. Emotional issues, tagati, health-related issues. So it's very important to identify and get clear on those 3 helpers. Those plants are our helpers, right? They want to be picked. They want to be used. Of course, we must pick them in a good way, right? We're not out there just slaughtering and taking what we want. We're going to do that. We're going to have nothing left. And it's not a way of honoring. So we must rely, and I want to encourage people, yes, have your isiwasho, have that. But some of these things, they're just full of coloring. They're not, the colors are important. I'm not saying they're not. The colors are important, but you want to get good quality medicine. Please make sure you have good quality, especially if you're drinking it, because one medicine that grows here is not the same as it grows here. We know that with Mpepo, there's 23 species, and you're not going to use one Mpepo for everything. You need different ones for different issues.
Okay. All right. While we're still on that topic, there are different type of people here. There are people who can't connect properly with medicine, like the umuti and the siwasho. There are people who just need only the siwasho. So what are you really saying on those people? Is it proper for them then to go and consult so that they get to understand? Because you might find someone trying to use muti and it's not working for them.
Yeah, that's true.
And they've tried everything they can, but the muti just can't work for them. So
but remember, the muti works in collaboration with other things. It works with your ancestors. That's why I say you can wash all day and whatever, pay 500 Rand, this is the magical cure, but you haven't done anything related to your ancestors. Well, then you can expect not to get the kind of results that you want to get. So that's important. We need different things at different times. This is important. And that's why we don't just take one plant our whole lives, right? They say take 3 months, take 6 weeks, take a course of this. We need different things at different times. You may need to go to the sea and wash. That's what's required for you. There's imbalances with isitunya, and that's the work you need to do. But you may have other times where That's not what you need. You need an Imbiza, and that's what you're supposed to be drinking. So I think you're right there. It's good, it's good to consult with the healer to get clear on what it is you need at that time. I also want to urge people, don't sangoma hop. You know what I mean? Like, there's people I
Yes.
get DMs from. I'm like, I know they've DM'd 6 other people about this, and
Mhm.
just want like everything from a holla. What do I do? It's like, I don't know you. Like, I
Mm.
need to, I need to do a reading. I'm not trying to
Yeah.
sit here and get rich. I need to do a reading for you. So
Mm.
don't send Goma Hop. This person said this person said this. Number one, if you do that, you're either going to get the same advice. If they're good healers, you're going to get the same advice, and then you've
Mm.
wasted your money, or you're going to get all conflicting advice and get confused. If you're seeing
Mm.
somebody who is trustworthy and reliable, follow through with what you are guided to do and complete. Don't hop around
Mm.
with things. Or
Mm.
it feels like it's too much work and too hard, and you think, I just want something simpler, right? We
Yeah.
have that. We have plants that we can just use daily in an easy way,
Mm.
for drinking, just to keep ourselves in order, or that we're going to wash in. But sometimes we need the heavier, um, medicines, the heavy hitters to take care of the issues that we're dealing with. Togoza.
Mm. So I was like, okay. Okay, I think we've almost covered everything. Just before we close, is there any difference between white and black? If, for example, I go to a white sangoma and then go to someone who's black, is the information the same as the one that I can get from the white person, or
Yeah.
does it really determine on how well or how educated you are?
Every Sangoma is different, black or white. What
Mm-hmm.
is the one thing we know? It is not homogeneous or uniformed Bungoma practices. Every healer's set of bones are different from the other person's. Everybody's way of reading them differs slightly. Everybody's methods, their regalia, their clothing, how they feel the ancestors, how they go into spirit is slightly different. We are all different, right? So, and we each carry our own gifting and our own medicine. So that's important. Um, I think it's important to find a healer that is going to be, if you're dealing with ongoing up and down issues, you want to see somebody who works in that, who specializes and works in that area, right? That's
Yeah.
important. If people come to me for certain things and I'm like, no, that's not my area, right? So it's important to work with somebody who has an understanding, has knowledge, and has had gifting related to what you are dealing with. That's really important.
And the honesty part as well. You should be honest and you should say you don't know this rather than just saying you know everything and you claim to help everyone.
No, absolutely. And even with certain things, there's certain clients around schizophrenia, psychosis, that I won't necessarily handle that. I or I won't deal with sexual predators. I'm not comfortable with counseling. Um, I'm going to see it, right, in the bones, and I'm not comfortable with counseling pedophiles, right? Like, a lot of
Mm.
my background, I mean, I taught in social service work for a decade, so a lot of my background is education and counseling, and that's also important too, knowing what you know and don't know, and also what you're comfortable with and not. Recently, I had somebody who needed to have something removed, and because of COVID, I'm working remotely. So I knew I could send her to somebody here who does Sadupi, who could remove it. I know he's good. I know he does well. And I was happy to send her there. So it's not just, it's important that we cross refer, right? Like, it's important that we do this as healers, and that we also don't undermine each other too, right? I sometimes have people that consult me, and I can see you've got a good gobella. Listen to your gobella. Sometimes it's not, but we can't be here undermining each other. Our work needs to go together. That's why I do things like Heal the Healer Pathla session. I'm always looking for how we can help each other work together, collaborate, and have advantage to each other in our work. Because we're trying to heal the people. We can't do it alone. We have to be working together. In terms of doing it. But you're right, the honesty is, and also patients need to be honest too. With the Sangoma, they need to, no, I'm not seeing him anymore. It's all over. And you're like, okay, sure, right? Like,
and funny thing is that whenever they try to lie, we always see that there's something wrong, but it's just that, people, they are always ashamed of what, I mean, they are always afraid of the truth.
Yeah. But the bones don't lie, right? The bones don't lie. And that's part of the healing work is truth telling,
Yes.
So when you're going to see a healer and when you're engaging in healing, it means that you are preparing, you are accepting that you want to see the truth, know the truth, and speak the truth. So, this is important. We can't live in denial around what we're supposed to do and how we're supposed to do it,
All right. Now, before we close, is there anything that you feel like we didn't touch base on? And maybe we can try to wrap things up on that one.
Yeah. Well, you sent me this video about this man drowning. Yeah, shame. It's so sad, hey? I feel so bad for that little child. What a terrible situation. And now it's kind of everybody's talking about it, right? Like, what's going on here? I think what's important, whether the video is real or not. I mean, we could sit all day and have a conversation. I think what's important.
No, it was real. I think it was real. Just to clarify that. It was real.
I think it's real too. But I'm saying whether that isn't, it's inconsequential to me. What is important here is that we know with Nzuza, we know with Ndao, we know with the water spirits, we know this happens. This isn't new information. We're told, how those water people can pull the Sangoma down into below the bottom of the riverbanks to return years later or never return, right? There are many, many different water spirits. Many. Think about it. Water is the oldest thing on our planet. And water is the memory holder of every person, of every being, of everything that's ever happened. Water is the holder of that. So when it comes to water, I'm not saying don't go swimming, right? I don't want people to not go swimming or not go in the rivers, but you must proceed with reverence and respect. You must proceed that way because you have the water spirits that live in the water. Then you have those ones that live, as I said, under the riverbed. Now, some of those are ancestors of that land and area that are there, and some of them are ones that travel. And then you have the mer people, mermaids, mermen, merwomen. This is what happened to that man, you see? And that quarry there is like there's a quarry or a bay, an acorn hook. And I remember going to Pasla, and I saw them and I heard them. And they're very enticing. People think mermaids look like the Little Mermaid, and they do not, right? They have a song, they are enticing, but they're actually they're small and they're quite ugly. Now, they're not calling people into the water to kill people. They're calling people into the water to say, come into our space, come into our kingdom, come and be with us. The problem is for us, we can't breathe underwater. So when we go there, we die. So when you're going to the waters and the water spirit, so that's the mermaids, the water spirits like certain offerings. And it's important that we feed them and we take care of them. Very important. Okay,
Yes.
because you can also find if they're not taken care of, they become disruptive, like the ancestors,
Mm.
right? So the
Mm.
water spirits like shiny things. They like coins, they like jewelry, they like shiny things, they like sweets. So those are good things to offer whenever you come anywhere. I had a friend of mine. We were doing ceremony, and we arrived, and we just saw them all come like this swimming, and we laughed, because they hadn't seen people in so long that could see them. You see, sometimes
Mm.
Itlozi, and the different spirits that don't get seen, when they finally when they know you can see them, they become really kind of exuberant. Hello, right? They're like, they become, so, and then offerings were made. We see you. We see you,
Mm.
water spirits. We see you. We love you. And then we make offerings, and then they're fine, right? So it's important, when we pass, like, we're not just working with our individual badimo. We're working
Mm.
with the spirits found in nature too. This is very important. And there's different spirits that live in different places in nature, and different spirits that are protectors or guards of that area. So certain places they won't let you in, especially in
Mm.
caves. Ancestors will say, no, don't come in. And you find that throughout the world, where there's sacred places that you're told no one can climb this, no one can go in here. And of course, white tourists are like, oh, I'm going in, right? Um,
Mm.
so this is an important piece, that we can't just go, we can't just tread anywhere, and just, and we need to proceed with reverence and care and make our offerings. When I go away in the summer, we have a lot of fresh water in Canada. It's got more fresh water than anywhere in the world. And when I'm away, I at this lake I go to, I don't swim. And my kids are like, oh, mom, you're so boring, you don't swim. I let them swim, and I watch them, right? Like, I watch, because I hear the people in there. I hear those spirits in the water, and they know that I have water spirits. So
Mm.
I don't spend too much time. I stand on the shore, I clean myself, I honor them, I make offerings, but I'm not going all the way in, because they're going to want me. They like me. Ooh, Gogo, come on, right? And I'm like, nope.
Yeah.
and
Very
and
nice.
and that's right. And then, so I watch the children too. So let us be clear, the water spirits are not evil energies trying to drown us, and we
Yes.
must continue to swim and honor the water, but we must also proceed with water and in these sacred places with care and reverence. And we have to listen. They're going to tell us, don't come here, or they're going to say you mustn't swim, or maybe
Mm.
they're the mermaid singing, come in, come in, come in, and you're like, right, I'm being
Yeah.
too enticed. So this is very, very important to culture, and a lot of these things have been lost. The
Mm.
oral traditions around sacred places. There's even places where you can go, and get energy, where there's sacred mineral stones in the ground, where you can go and stand and receive full healing and be energized. And a lot of these things are lost or not known, and those places want us to engage and interchange with it in a good way. So
Yes.
we can do that, but we shouldn't be violent in our approach, or extractive, take what we want, and forget the rest. Togoza.
So was a good. No, I think you've helped us a lot and touched on that. I almost forgot that one, but I think I forgot to note it down somewhere. But thank you very much, Sohoza. Thank you for your time as well. I think I will also try to get enough time to prepare proper questions as well, so that I think you've got a lot of things to share as well, when I try to understand you. And I think we can then make that one another day, or set another
Sure,
date for it, so that we can almost cover everything. What I
sure.
can say is thank you very much for your time, and I think this was very informative.
It's a
I'm seeing
pleasure.
comments as well that I should save this live. I will do that, and we will have a link as well that will go with it.
Togoza.
And maybe what would you like to share? Your last words to people, no word of advice to people as well.
Ooh, I just want to ask people not to give up hope, please. I know a lot of people are in moments of despair. Ooh, I can feel somebody watching it right now who's emotional. I can feel them. That person who's in despair right now, you're not alone. I know it's
Mm.
difficult. We cannot give up hope right now. What we need is each other, and what we need is our faith and our family, the whole human family. And we have to rely on the knowledge and the systems and the healing tools that the ancestors had in order to get through this. We can do this, not just COVID. There's more ahead. You know, I dream it, I see it. There's more ahead, but we cannot lose hope. Please, you know, if you have something to give it. You know, if you have something to share, share it. Let us be let us exercise as much kindness as we can right now. And for those of you, I can feel that one woman right now, you know, for you that is not in this good situation, you know, in your home. I mean, all I can say, my darling, is leave. You know, that's all I can say. So I will continue praying. I pray that this live is medicine for people. I pray that your ancestors touch you and heal you and guide you and bless you. And for those that are here now, for those that will see this, I'm praying for you, you know, I'm praying for you. You're not forgotten. I'm praying for you, and your ancestors are with you. And, you know, may we all have healing. Tokozana, Matlosi, Tokozan.
So, all right. I think if you're also watching, you can always DM us. We can always because I'm seeing the person that you are talking about. When you are talking, I'm seeing some hearts, and I know that's the person who really needs help. So if ever you need anything to ask or anything that we may help you with, please feel free to DM us, and we will always
Yeah,
try to connect you with the right people. I
yeah.
also have Gogo Nomadlozi's contact. If you want it, I can also connect you with it. And thank you very much, Coco. Let me also try to get working because I'm at work. Let me just try to also wrap up my and I think we will also talk next year, which is tomorrow,
Yeah.
and then we can see a way forward from there.
And I hope you have a good new year, and I hope that the work that you're trying to do opens up for you. And may we all, as a community, encourage and support you in the work that you want to do and the knowledge you want to do. And may the ancestors do it their way, not your way. And may you surrender and succumb and follow the way that they have guided for you. And may we all hold you up in what you're endeavoring to do. You know, you're not paid for this. You know, you're taking your time to do this not just for promotion, but to try and have people understand and move forward in a good way. So may your work be blessed, you know, and may you be blessed in the work you're trying to do. Togoza.
All right, no, thank you, and have the rest of your day.
Happy New Year,
And
everybody.
Happy New Year, Tawoza. Okay,
Togoza.
I'll save the video and I'll post it again here so that people can watch. Those who missed, we love you and we'll have to leave you.
Okay,
Goodbye.
Togozan. Bye bye.
Tawoza Gogo.